yours, Dave? Board of County Commissioners now back in session.
Mr. Chairman, may I address the board? Mr. Anderson? As you can see, some of the members from the bungalows by the Gulf are here. All they're waiting on is the board action to authorize a public hearing. So I was requested the board authorize a public hearing.
So move.
Second, I want to ask
Yes,
a
sir.
question though before we move ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
You all met Mr. Anderson, Mr. Shooter's been in contact with you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and y'all all have met and you came to a conclusion that you can help them?
Yes, ma'am. What, your staff sat down and has proposed an amendment to your C2 zoning, which governs this particular piece of property.
Okay,
We have shared that proposed amendment with Mr. Anderson. He has shared it with his client, and I believe they've all are in agreement to move forward to a public hearing. There may be, in fact, some further tweaks or as we move forward, you know how it is with these ordinances, but we do have an initial proposal. I have discussed potential amendments to that with Mr. Anderson. I don't think we're going to have any problems with it.
okay.
We
Mr.
believe
Chairman,
some-
could you describe just briefly the parameters of the settlement changes?
Yes, sir. Mike, would you?
Yes, sir.
Give this to the board members. Essentially, what we are doing is proposing to amend your C2 zoning category to create a new principal use. The new principal use is going to be called resort condominium units, low impact 37 units or lower. And then there are certain defining criteria defining what is and is not a resort condominium unit. At present, there are 3 conditions. The first condition is that the units would have to be licensed as a Chapter 509 transient rental unit through the state of Florida. They would have to be located south of US Highway 98, and the units would also have to have been approved prior to, I believe it's August of 2005, and the construction completed prior to November of 2007. There is a possibility, and I'm still discussing this with Mr. Theriak, your outside counsel, that I've requested the ability to consult with because of his level of expertise in the area. I may add a 4th criteria concerning a requirement that these resort condominium units have been recorded their declarations of condominium prior to, I believe the operative date is January or February of 2008. The point being, the board's direction to myself was to come up with a plan that gave some relief to these property owners, because under the current C2 zoning, owner occupation is not authorized or allowed. This proposed amendment would be for you to consider amending C2 to allow owner occupation. And that seems to have met favorably with them, because I believe that is the goal that they were trying to move towards. So that's the direction staff is recommending, but we have to schedule a public hearing, and I can't do that without your authorization, and you can't adopt the proposed ordinance until you're in that public setting.
Follow-up question, Mr. Chairman. And the owners of the units agree in concept to the way we're proceeding?
Yes, we reviewed it. We agree in concept. It does actually resolve the issue, which is being able to occupy and use the units, and it provides that. And the criteria proposed, even the 4th additional criteria, are things that we agree with or either can do.
And the critical, at the very beginning, you were concerned about the critical high hazard area. That was not an issue you found out then?
Bobby Bowden used to say, you can be lucky or you can be good. They're lucky. The critical habitat zone, critical habitat, the coastal high hazard line is immediately south of the footprint of their building. So yes, the map that I looked at originally showed them as being in the coastal high hazard, but as I refined the map and got a more detailed map, the line in fact runs immediately south of their building. So the building itself that we're talking about is just north and outside of the coastal high hazard area. And I believe that during the storm, the map proved itself to be accurate. I had a report given to me that the seaweed and all the debris from the storm came right up to the south of their building, but did not get into the building under concrete pad. So that would have been an issue we could not have been able to get around. So very, very fortunate that door was opened and we were able to move forward with trying to amend the C2 zoning map, or give you a proposal for you to consider amending it.
I'll have a motion on the floor, the second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Follow-up question to Mr. Schuler. When will the hearings start? And when do you-
I don't think it's going to be probably within the next 30 days. It's going to be outside of the next 30 days.
Soon after?
Yes, sir. We're trying to actually refine some information out of the division of, I guess, hotels that actually licenses these 509 units. We're trying to get our hands wrapped around so we can advise you on how you need to act in terms of how many times a year these units would have to be rented to remain qualified as a 509 transient rental unit. And that's something that we're still refining. We don't have a definitive answer on that yet, but we're working towards that. But the BPR is something that we can't really move them very quickly. We're having to go through that process. And Mr. Theriak actually is taking the lead on that.
Well, thank you for your work and for your work, Mr. Theriak. I think we see a solution.
Well, Mr. Anderson, but we enjoyed working with you, and we enjoyed working with Attorney Schuler, and thank you, Board, for allowing us to get set for a hearing. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kurt Blair, TDC.
Good morning, Commissioners. Couple of things. You've got in your backup folders that Michael provides you, all of the materials that we've accumulated over the last couple of months, I guess.
Okay, they don't have access to that right now.
You don't have, oh, okay.
Just what you sent today.
Okay. I'm going to keep my report short. We're going to give you an annual wrap-up at the end of the year at our next meeting, at your next meeting that I appear to. I will report on a couple of things. Our collections in June came in. We were 10% above last year. That means that our average collections for the fiscal year are still in at about 7 or 8%, so that's a good sign. The remaining 2 months that we have due, July, August, and September actually are due to come in. And we expect July will be good. August is obviously going to be off, and we'll have the issue about the hurricane in September. But we think we're going to get right in at about the 8% that we were at, excuse me, at last year. Our board last week approved a budget for the warning flags that we talked about it last month, and Sponda and I have been working on coming up with a number of items that need to be done to get that put into place. So, but our board approved some funds for it at our last meeting, so we should be moving along with that pretty quickly. I have 2 action items for you today. And let me tell you that because of our collections last year and our anticipated carryovers this year, we're going to be able to spend almost 100, probably closer to 90,000 more on promotion for the coming year. And I've given you copies of addendums to the agreements of the vendors that identify additional items that we wanted them to do beyond their core contracts. These agreements are similar to the ones we did about 5 or 6 months ago for a couple of the vendors, and I've had Mr. Schuler look them over, and so we're going to ask for your approval of the 4 addendums. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have about them.
So move.
Second?
I have a motion second for, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
And the last action item is, you'll remember, we have an agreement with a credit card company that we use of the counties to pay for our internet activities. That is to say, the advertising we do on the internet, it all has to be done by credit card, and we've had this agreement now for a couple of years. I think it's with Centennial Bank that authorizes the use of the credit card. That agreement maxes out the use of to 4,000 a cycle. With the new budget that you're considering, we've allocated a good deal more towards internet marketing, and we've been requested to consider raising that from 4,000 to 6,000 per cycle, and our board approved that request at the last meeting. I've supplied you with a copy of the memorandum that is currently in place and a copy of the minutes of our board meeting last week that request the increase. And we've been talking with Aaron about doing the mechanics of that. And so we would recommend that you authorize increasing that limit from 4,000 to 6,000 per cycle.
Need a motion?
I had a question.
Yes, sir.
I'll be glad to make the motion. This is for hits. We pay so much for hits. Is that, how that?
Well, this is actually for advertising. We advertise on, excuse me, a number of platforms, including Facebook, Google, Bing, all of the standard search engine programs. And we advertise in two different ways. You'll see, if you're outside the area, because they don't show up in Franklin County, but on our social media platforms, which includes Facebook and the others, there are 3 or 4 of them, you'll see ads running on those pages. And then in response to an inquiry by a potential visitor, I want to find a place to go that's quiet, maritime community or whatever, they'll come up responses to their request in their search engine. And when those requests are keyed to indicators that we list of keywords and phrases, then our ad will come up on that page. And yes, they can click through that ad to our website for more information, but we'll actually be advertising on those pages. And it's a new part of internet marketing, and it's a little scary to me, frankly, because I'm not, I'm of a generation that didn't have to deal with all this, but the search engines can pretty much anticipate what you're looking for. And so you'll notice when you do searches, there'll come up these ads that will be particularly keyed to what you're looking for. And we'll show up on those that are keyed into the parameters that we've identified.
And we pay a flat rate, or by, when they click on it and pass through, and we get the hit?
We pay a rate for the ad, and then we pay an additional small amount for the click.
And so this is a way that we can also see the benefit and
Yes.
usefulness of those particular ads on the number of hits.
Yes, they provide us all kinds of tracking information, where the contact has been from, where they go, what pages they look at on our website, how long they spend on the website, if they take action on some of the items that we do on the website. There's a pretty thorough reporting that we get, tracking reporting that we get, and that's part of what I provide you in your monthly, the thing that Michael says you haven't got yet, but we do a monthly report on that.
Move approval.
All right, we have a motion second on the floor. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Is that it, Mr. Gertie?
Any other questions I would have to answer?
I did have a question. Do you have an update on the benches?
I think Mr. Noel made the second.
Oh, okay.
I'm working, yes, we have, I'm working with a concrete provider in Panacea, Brooks Concrete, to nail down a design, which we will then review and get to you. So we're making an effort to get a couple of options that, for benches, and we'll get them back to you with a budget.
Thank you, Mr. Kurt.
Thank you.
Can I ask him a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Kurt, if you were sitting here at the beginning of the meeting and you heard the county having a dilemma with our walkovers, our dune walkovers, and how we don't know if we're gonna have the money there to fix it or not, can you all, as chairman of TDC, I'm issuing you a directive, is to go and look and see if you can find any money to help us out on that.
Yes, Commissioner, as a matter of fact, we paid, the TDC paid for some of the walkovers when they were originally built, and so it would be not inconsistent to keep them in repair. There is a category of funds in your budget for the coming year that you're going to approve, I guess, at the end of September, for funds for governmental activities, and we've got some money in there that can be used for that. So,
Thank you, Mr.
thank
Kerr.
you.
Amy Anderson, Eastmore Medical Center.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm just here to give y'all an update about the center. Since Doris Carmichael has started at East Point Medical in late June, our encounters have drastically increased. For the first time in 4 years, we've seen over 300 patients within a month, which means that we are helping more underinsured and uninsured patients. Our slide fee list has increased as well. Doris is very active in the community. We are very happy to have her, a provider who cares about the patients in our community. She's active in different fundraisers with Big Bend Hospice and American Cancer Society. We also work with Big Bend Hospice to provide a smoking cessation class for those in the community who are interested in quit smoking. Those classes are held every Thursday or every third Thursday of the month, and they are offered to everyone who's interested. We are also prepared to give flu vaccines starting October 1st, and we are enrolled with the Vaccination for Children. They provide vaccinations for children who are enrolled in Medicaid programs and who do not have insurance. Do you have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Amy, let me ask you something. A couple of meetings ago, y'all came before us, and I think it was Mr. Lockley that asked you, and I think it was Miss Doris here too, when we asked, has a local hospital been issued privileges to any of your doctors yet?
No, our doctors do not have admitting rights to the hospital, but Mike Cooper did reach out to us, and he did have a meeting with Doris and I and talk about the services that they could help provide
Okay.
for our patients.
I just want to make sure that y'all been,
Yes, yes.
Okay.
we have.
Any more questions, Raymond? Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You have a good. Mr. Lee Lewis, Icon update, airport.
I don't want that way.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Just a slight correction. I'm John Collins with AvCon. Unfortunately, Lee Lewis was not able to be here today. He regrets that he wasn't able to make it today. But I am excited to be here and to give you a couple updates on some exciting projects that are happening at the airport right now. I know that Jason Puckett, the airport manager, has been keeping you up to speed on the airport drainage improvement project as well as the access road project that are currently under design right now. But I do have a few other items to go over with you today that we're asking for board approval on. The first item is probably the most exciting one, is the economic development plan. This whole process started for the airport back in October when you as a board unanimously asked us to look for funding for it, to develop an economic development plan for the airport. We know we want to see economic development at the airport, and so what we did is we went to the DOT, and they provided a $120,000 grant for us to develop an economic development plan for the airport. Now this is funds, we didn't just move money from one project into this one. These are new funds that were not included in the 5-year work program. So these are money that we did not have at the time. And so finally that grant did come through. And really this development plan will answer 3 big questions for us as a county. Number one, what does the airport have where we can attract businesses to the airport? Number 2, what industries can we support at the airport? Or who are we looking for? Who do we want to market to for the airport? And then number 3, how do we get that information out? How do we reach out to those who might want to relocate their businesses or their industry to the airport? So we are really excited to get started with this. Really what we'll have at the end of this project is a powerful tool that we will take with us to the state, to the Florida Department of Economic Development, Triumph Gulf Coast. It's a plan that we have as a community that we've approved and developed as a community to attract businesses and industry to the airport.
Can I ask you a
Yes,
question?
absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
You said we've received it today. I don't.
Oh,
He's referring to Michael. He's referring to Michael.
Okay. Okay. But now, Who have you consulted on this, trying to do an economic plan? Because we've been trying to do an economic development plan for the.
We're just now getting started. We haven't done it yet.
Okay, you haven't done it.
That's correct,
We
yes,
just got the
ma'am.
money to do it. So what you're signing today is approval.
How much money was appropriated to do this study?
97,000.
Well, the FDOT grant for this project is $120,000 from the FDOT for this study, $120,000 they've provided.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
$119,900.
And that is 100% FDOT funding. There are zero local funds included in this project. It's 100% DOT funded.
Mr. Chairman, I had a question too. We're having another study done through Restore regionally, right?
The Gulf County, well, actually, the three studies going on. There's a county, Frank County's doing this one about the airport itself. Then Gulf County's doing one for 4 counties. And then your Great Falls Northwest is doing a study, economic transformation for 8 counties.
But Alan, the one he's talking about is getting this study done for our airport.
Yes, sir.
Particularly,
This study is for
and
our
how it
airport.
fits into the 4-county regional plan.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
helping us leverage Triumph monies and everything else. I met with Lee on this a while back. I think me and Alan both did. And that's what we're trying to do. One of those studies are a regional study. It's not specific to the airport. This one will be more specific to the airport. And Gulf County's doing one specific to the port. And then how we put all this together in the regional approach of garnering the money from Triumph. The fear is that small county's gonna get left out of Triumph. This is gonna set us up to where we can move forward and actually access those funds on behalf of the smaller counties, Gulf, Franklin, maybe Wakulla. And it all is going to also help some of the northern counties such as Liberty, even though they're not one of the 8 impacted counties, even though they're not specifically addressed in Restore, having a regional approach is only going to garner, garner support for us to be able to access these funds and reaching out to our neighboring counties, and there may be some benefit to those people also. So I'm gonna make a motion to approve on this task order.
Have a motion second floor, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion,
I had one other question. What's the time frame for concluding this study?
I believe we have 6 months total to, I'm sorry, I'll have to go back to.
I think it was I thought it
Should
was
you
a
have it?
year, but.
Okay.
And how does that jive with the other 2 studies?
Well, I know Gulf County study, because they announced it to me, they have to get theirs done in a year. They have to have theirs done by June 30th of 2017. And the other study is a regional approach, and actually, they're ramping theirs up. So the regional approach done by Florida's Great Northwest, they want done by March, because they want to be ready to go to the Triumph meeting and say, this is what we need. So they're going to be, even though they're regional and larger in scope, they're going to be done first. If their consultant gets it done on time.
Mr. Chair, what I'd like to see is we get as much done.
As quickly as possible.
Franklin County specific, and then build on the regional efforts too.
Mr. Chairman, yeah, I'd like to see that too. I want to see that we do Franklin County. And when y'all get through with the study, you're going to be able to go out and look for money to help start this, whatever you find.
Yes, sir, absolutely. What we'll do is we'll take this plan that, we developed with the county, the airport, and approved by the commissioners, and we can take it to the different organizations. I know BRPH is going to be working with us on this project, and they're very well connected with the different funding agencies. So that's phase 2. Number 1 is get this plan down, make sure everybody's on the same page, we have the same vision for the airport, and then step 2 would be, going to these different agencies and pursuing funds for development of the airport. Yes, sir.
Yeah, myself, I know you got to do a study, but I want to see the real deal happen.
Of course. Yes, sir. Okay, was that, I'm sorry. Oh,
any more questions, Barry? All right, go ahead.
okay. Is that approved? I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, we approved
Okay,
that.
Great, awesome, sorry, I missed that, okay. The second item is, we have a project at the airport, it's called the Rehabilitate Airfield Pavements Project. And really the goal there was, as you know, pavements break down. A lot of the pavements at the airport have been out there for 60 years. And so the DOT provided so another 100% grants. There's 0 county participation in this project, where we went out and replaced a majority of the concrete seals in the pavement. and we replaced one of the taxiway connectors that was in really poor shape. So it really was a pavement rehabilitation project at the airport on the primary runway. So we want to make sure we keep that going for decades to come. So there's two items for approval on this project. Number one is a final change order on the project. As with most unit price contracts, at the end of the job, we measure everything the contractor did, and we finalize the contract based on the measured quantities in the field. So once we did that, it was actually a net reduction in the contract amount with Polar Owners Construction, about a little over $2,200. So that's the final change order. And then we also have the final pay application from Polar Owners Construction on this project, the amount of $136,790.42. So I'm here this morning to request approval on both the final change order for the project and final pay application for Polar Owners Construction.
I'll make a motion to approve,
Second?
item 2 and 3.
All right, this is right, okay.
That's the
Have a motion
final
and
change
second.
order.
Yeah, I see it right here. Motion and second on the floor, all in favor? All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. The last item on the list in your packet is for the Upgrade Airfield Lighting Systems project at the airport. Really what this will do is take our airfield lighting systems from the 20th to 21st century. Right now, what's out there are incandescent lighting fixtures on the edge of the runway and the taxiways. That's the way it used to be done, and they work okay. But now we have LED fixtures. They're 40% more energy efficient. So what you'll see is the utility bill for the airport will go down once these new fixtures are installed. And also right now, all the electrical cable feeding all the airfield lighting systems is direct buried. You just dig a hole, put the cable in the ground and bury it. What we're doing is replacing those cables in conduit. So not only will it make it more maintenance friendly for the airport, but it'll protect those cables long term. The project was bid, and we received 2 bids. The low bid contractor was TCA Electrical Contractors. And we've actually worked with them before at other airports, and they did a very good job. They specialize in airfield lighting systems. So it's what they do. It's all they do. They go from airport to airport installing lighting systems. So they're certainly qualified for the project. So we prepared a letter. It's in your packet. It's a recommendation of award to TCA Electrical Contractors, recommending the award of the base bid in the amount of $893,670. So I'm here before you this morning requesting that the board approve the recommendation to award the project to TCA Electrical Contractors. And if you do, then we'll start the process. We'll get the contract signed and get the notice to proceed issued to the contractor as soon as possible.
And the base bid is below the amount of the grant of $915,000. The only other bid we had was substantially above the grant, so
Correct.
this really is the only one that was.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second on the floor, all in favor? All opposed, motion carries.
Okay, well, I appreciate your time. I know we're excited about what's happening at the airport. It's been a lot of years. I know Jason Puckett, Alan Pierce, Michael. The county's been working really hard the last several years to pull funds into the airport, and finally we're seeing some of that happen at the airport. So it's exciting to be a part of it. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Mr. Jason?
Yes, sir, just quick 2 items for me. We are working really close, and we've pretty much finalized an agreement with a tenant on our corporate hangar. And it looks like it's going to be a 60-month lease. And so I'm going to present that to Mr. Schuler for his review before we present it to the board, hopefully next month. But it'll be for our pilot training, some aircraft rental, and hopefully some sightseeing trips. And so we're trying to bring that into our community. I think it's going to be great. And plus, it gets someone in that hangar for us and generate some revenue for the airport.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Has the airport advisory board seen this?
Yeah, Randall Terry has seen it. The AAC has not seen it in its entirety, no, sir.
Okay. If you would please make sure the AC has a chance to look
Absolutely.
at that before it comes to me, so that the board has confidence that their advisory board has looked at this fully before it's presented.
Perfect.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. The second item I wanted to say, I just wanted to put on a public forum, is that I think things went very well at the airport during the storm. We were in contact with FDOT, the FAA, the National Weather Service. I was given email updates about every 2 hours, and was on the phone with DOT pretty much that whole Thursday and Friday. But specifically, Crystal Air did a phenomenal job. A couple of guys there at Crystal Air stayed late. We know we had Duke Energy stage a lot of their trucks at the airport. I believe there was 70-something trucks there, had over 200 members of Duke Energy and contractors there at the airport. And so Chris Stokes, John Moore, and Mark Vale stayed late, worked overtime, worked through the night, making sure that they were accommodated and did everything they could to help out this community. And I just want to publicly thank them for all their hard work.
I will say the only Christmas comment was that we forgot to open up the main gate, and so Duke Energy, on their GPS came up Appalachian Park,
Oh, wow.
Appalachian Road to a closed gate, so then you had these convoys truck trying to back up, some of them with poles, backing down Appalachia,
Right.
then to come in the other way.
I
So,
got you.
Next time.
And there's actually some learning there that I wanted to do as an airport manager for some communication breakdown that happened a little bit. And I'm going to kind of create a better little plan for us there at the airport on how we report and how we do things. And so there was a learning curve for us too, but overall, I think it was mitigated very well.
Yeah, I think it went very well.
Yeah.
Real quick, Mr. Chairman, while Jason's here. Michael, the staging contract that we did with Duke, how many years does that run for?
This, I believe, is for, it expires December 2017.
Okay, so it's just like 1 year.
Essentially about a year and a half. They had allowed it to expire, never requested a renewal, so there was a period of time we had no contract with them. I will comment in my discussions with Mr. Danny Collins with Duke Energy that they are very happy to have not one but two staging areas in Franklin County, and it definitely gets your constituents faster service and recovery from storms. A lot of counties are not helping them, they're not engaging in staging area agreements with them. As he described it to me, I think the next closest one is, I don't know, several hundred miles away. I forget, maybe Monticello, maybe. I think that's what he said.
Anyway, my comment, Mr. Puckett, is should we have another storm next year?
Yes, sir.
We expect them back.
Yes, sir.
So some of these lessons we've learned
Yes,
this
sir.
time, let's make sure we're prepared to handle them next year.
Absolutely, yes, sir. I know we did. We had personnel. We made room for them. They had their own cook trailer, and we had contractors, basically in sleeping bags underneath the airplane wings in the hangar, and so we did everything we could to accommodate them best we could. We want to get all the airplanes inside of a hangar, so that took priority. But then what we did is we made sure we were available for them as much as we could.
Just don't run them off.
No, sir. No, sir. We're very accommodating. We need them.
That's my point.
Run them off.
Duly noted. We need them. Absolutely.
Well, when you do your debriefing, I appreciate advising the commission what improvements you see. And I
Yes,
think
sir.
any time we have an experience like that, we can learn from it.
Absolutely.
And improve.
Yes, sir. I will do.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.